We began our analysis on the factory floor, observing production. To understand the total system, we must shift our view to the open market. This is the primary objective of Karl Marx's second volume, mapping the circulation of individual and social capital. Capital is not a static object. It is not a hoarded pile of gold sitting in a vault. Instead, it is value in continuous motion. To expand, this value must continuously discard one functional form and assume another, moving through distinct phases of activity. If this movement halts at any stage, the value lies fallow. It ceases to be capital. Its survival depends entirely on successful, uninterrupted metamorphosis. The required arena for all these transformations is the sphere of circulation. Marx uses a specific mathematical notation to map this circuit: M to C, interrupted by P, leading to C' and M'. The circuit starts at this extreme, money capital. It proceeds through these intermediate phases, commodity capital and productive capital. The end goal is M', the original advanced money, expanded. Volume 2 dissects these transitions, demonstrating that value must traverse the hazards of the open market to realize its own expansion. The cycle begins with the capitalist entering the market as a buyer, holding an advanced sum of money. This initiates the first formal metamorphosis. Money is converted into commodities. M becomes C. But C is not a uniform block of goods. For capitalist production to function, it must split into two distinct elements. The first element is means of production, MP. This consists of the raw materials, the facilities, and the machinery. The second element is labor power, L, the human capacity to perform work. At this stage, money functions strictly as a medium of exchange. It is acquiring the necessary components to set up exploitation. This phase creates zero new value. It merely changes the physical form of the value, preparing it for the production phase. The dots in the formula mark a strict interruption. The market circulation halts. The capitalist shifts roles, acting now as a producer who productively consumes the purchased commodities. During this process, the means of production simply transfer their existing pre-calculated value directly into the new product. Labor power operates differently. It preserves that old value and simultaneously generates entirely new value through its exertion. This newly created value is surplus value. It is derived entirely from unpaid labor time, extracted during the working day. The output of this production phase is a physically new mass of commodities. This is commodity capital, C'. It bears a capitalist birthmark, mathematically equating to the original advanced capital plus the new surplus value. Value has successfully expanded in the shadows of the factory. Yet this new value is trapped inside a physical commodity form, entirely useless to the capitalist until it is realized. The capitalist returns to the turbulent market, abandoning the role of producer to act as a seller. This forces the second metamorphosis, the imperative conversion of commodity capital back into money capital. The target is M', the original advanced value plus the realized surplus value in cash. This is the dangerous afterword of production. The market does not guarantee a buyer will be found. If the commodity fails to sell at its value, the exploitation meticulously achieved on the factory floor is nullified. Once realized, that money capital must be immediately deployed to buy new labor and materials, restarting the cycle on an expanded scale. Selling is vastly more critical than buying. The realization gap is the ultimate choke point. It is here that individual capital either succeeds or collapses. If you zoom out from a single isolated circuit, you will see the continuous, overlapping rotations of total social capital. Volume 1 established the absolute mathematical distinction between constant capital, like machinery, and variable capital, the human labor. Because the capitalist continuously purchases both inputs on the open market, their distinct roles blur. Labor and materials are lumped together in the books under a single deceptive category, circulating capital. This administrative reality creates a powerful ideological illusion for the capitalist. The speed and continuity of the market obscure the secret of surplus value. Profit appears to be generated by the clever act of buying and selling, rather than the extraction of unpaid labor in the factory. Strip away the illusion of the market, and the underlying structural reality remains. The sphere of circulation creates zero value. Nevertheless, the sphere of circulation is the mandatory, inescapable mechanism required in order to realize the value generated in production. The completed circuit operates as a unified, inescapable system. Capital is never a static hoard of wealth. It is a relentless cycle of metamorphosis that must dominate both the factory floor and the global market just to survive.